Namaste, yogis. Welcome to our final Yin Chakra practice. This one focusing all on the crown chakra, located right at the top of the head, associated sometimes with the color of pure white, and sometimes people associate it with like a deep purple color, so you can choose the one that resonates the most with you. Now, the crown chakra is the most ethereal and the most subtle that we have. If you notice, or if you think back from the other classes that we've done, we started at the root chakra, which was all about like the physical world, everything that's tangible. And as we moved up the chakras, it went from the concrete and physical more to the subtle and the ethereal, right? So moving through the elements and all the way up. And the crown chakra really has to do with the dissolving of our ego. It has to do with our connection to the universe and to the rest of the world at large. And it's really about dropping our own personal identification and dropping the narrow focus that we might have on our lives, thinking that everything revolves around us, which is kind of normal for, most of our time to be spent thinking this way, because obviously, we experience the world through our five senses. So it seems almost logical to think that, our perspective is the dominating one. But the crown chakra is all about zooming out, adopting a much wider perspective, and really looking at the fact that you are only a tiny little piece of this huge puzzle of life, a tiny little piece of the web of life. And the crown chakra is also asking you to nurture whichever kind of relationship you might have to a higher power, if that's something that you resonate with. So a higher consciousness, a higher power, and it's really asking you to just accept the fact that you don't know everything, you don't have all the answers, and as much as your ego might want to think that it's in control at all times, we're kind of not. And the crown chakra is asking us to let go of the need to control the environment around us and to surrender to something greater, whether that something greater to you is God that you picture and adhere to according to a certain faith and religion, or whether you just surrender to the fact that you are not in control of whether or not the sun rises in the morning and sets at night. You are not in control of the forces of nature. There are bigger things at play and bigger things at hand. And adopting that wider perspective and really getting in touch with this can help us just to adopt a healthier perspective so that we don't get bogged down into all the little nitty-gritty parts of our day-to-day lives, and that we can also start to learn to appreciate just the wonder of our existence and the wonder with the fact that we are alive floating on this rock in space. It's kind of trippy to think about, but that's really all that the crown chakra is. So it's about connecting ourselves to the wholeness of life and surrendering whatever control our ego likes to trick us into thinking that we have, where really, we can control little parts about ourselves and the way that our life goes, but there's so much that is out of our hands. And that can be a very freeing notion to embody. So, terms of props, instead of having blocks today, I'll ask that you have one strap. For the yin yoga portion of our practice, all of our poses are going to be done lying down on our backs. When it comes to the crown chakra, honestly, the best pose you could do is Shavasana. So that's just how we're going to begin our practice today. So you can go ahead and lie all the way down on your back, either with your legs and your arms out straight, or you might keep your knees bent and your feet flat to the floor. But see if you can totally release and surrender. Again, surrender and letting go is a big theme, a big lesson of the crown chakra. Knowing that we don't know everything. And there can be such a nice comfort in this. A comfort in knowing that it's not all in our control. So maybe in some ways we don't have to try as hard. And if you do adhere to any kind of faith or spirituality, this can be a beautiful practice to do as like a full body prayer, a full body offering, honoring your connection to that greater power that flows within you, through you, and that equally flows through everyone else. So you're not being singled out. I like to think of the crown chakra as the word Namaste that we say at the end of yoga, meaning the light within me recognizes the light within you. That is a beautiful lesson of the crown chakra. So take a few deep breaths here. Start to inquire and ask yourself how you would like to work with this theme. What would an open and balanced crown chakra look like to you? And we'll have quite a few reclined poses, also quite a few inversions and forward folds, and also some balancing poses as well. And let's draw the right knee into the belly and carry it over into a twist so your right knee can cross over to the left. You can stretch your right arm out to the side. Keep your chest facing up. Just releasing any tension from the low back and from your right hip. Coming all the way back to center, we'll switch sides. Draw your left knee into your belly. And prepare for your twist. Left knee over to the right. Extend your left arm out. Maintain the length through your spine. Expanding out from the crown of your head. Come all the way back to center. Pull your knees into your belly. Give it a big squeeze. And curl head and shoulders off the mat. Tiny little ball. And you can hold on to the backs of your thighs and just rock up and down. Coming up. And we'll come into a tabletop pose on hands and knees. Cat and cow, just so we warm up the spine. Inhale, little back bend. Exhale, contract, and really drop your head here. Imagine whatever it is that you don't need, just pouring out of the crown of your head. And coming back, rest your hips towards your heels. We'll come into rabbit pose. So you're going to interlace your fingers behind your lower back. And you're going to place the crown of your head down on the mat as you reach your knuckles up and over. And you're really not putting all that much weight or all that much pressure on the crown of your head. Try to lift your shoulders away from your ears. And stay as you are, but just release your arms alongside you. Arms coming down to the mat. And find a little child's pose, forehead to the earth, shoulders resting over your thighs, over your knees. And bring your arms out in front of you. Let's find downward facing dog. Tuck your toes under and lift your hips all the way up and back. Feet are about hip width distance apart or so. Release the crown of your head down towards the floor. You might bend your knees generously here, shaking out the head. Just letting go, pouring out of the crown of the head, whatever you don't need anymore.
And walk your hands to the back of the mat for a ragdoll fold. Hold on to the elbows, and you can sway a little side to side, just releasing the low back, stretching out through your hamstrings. And release your fingertips down to the mat. Bend your knees even more and push into your heels to roll all the way up to stand inch by inch. Mountain pose, stay at the back of your mat. Just shine your palms forward. Roll your shoulders back. Close your eyes. So finding our internal point of focus and center of gravity. Lean all of your weight forward into the balls of your feet. And then lean all the way over to the right. All the way back into your heels. And then over to the left. And now find the true center of gravity here. Between those 4 points, lifting up through the arches of the feet. Trusting in your balance. Think of reaching the crown of your head up a little bit higher. Take an inhale, open the eyes, circle the palms wide, big breath in. Exhale, swan dive, fold it forward, and just walk your hands back, downward facing dog. From this down dog, let's reach the right leg up to the sky, bend your right knee, open up your hip, and exhale, step it through, warrior 2. Back foot spins parallel to the shorter edge of your mat. Arms extend out. As you bend into that right knee, think of squeezing your right knee open. Sinking the hips down a little bit lower. Let's bring our hands together at the front of the heart, and we're going to step to the top of the mat, coming into tree pose. So balancing on your right leg, you're going to place your left foot somewhere alongside the inner edge or the inner thigh, maybe the inner calf. Think of squeezing that left knee open so there's an external hip rotation here. Find something to focus on that's not moving. And again, try not to dig your toes into the floor. Find that center of gravity between the 4 corners of your right foot. As you inhale, you're going to circle your arms wide. Hands come together to touch. Exhale, draw your hands down to the midline. So like you're circling the entire world, pulling up from the sky and drawing it all the way down to your body. So connecting to the world, connecting to that higher power, the forces of nature, and exhaling, bringing it back into the tangible, into you. Last one, inhale. And exhale. And let's step our left foot all the way back to the back of the mat. And you're going to turn your heels in, toes out. So your feet are pointed out towards the top corners of your mat. Open up your arms, star pose. Inhale to stretch. And exhale, bend the knees, bend the elbows, goddess pose. Inhale to star. And exhale, goddess. Last one, inhale. Tapping into your divinity. Exhale, squeeze. You're going to hold it here. You're going to reach your arms up, interlace the fingers, and just release the thumb and the index fingers as you squeeze your biceps along the ears. And we'll take Kapalabhati breath 10 times. So it's a pumping of a stomach, and you're forcefully exhaling out through your nose. So I'll just demonstrate. You take like half an inhale in, and then exhale, 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 exhale. And the inhalation happens naturally. So I'll just demonstrate. And we'll do that about 10 times. So squat down nice and low, little breath in, and then begin. And release, straighten the legs, hands on your hips. Turn your toes in so feet are parallel. Inhale to lengthen, and exhale, fold all the way down. So any kind of arm variation that you'd like here. The emphasis is on the inversion, relaxing the neck, letting the head be heavy. When we work on the crown chakra, it's nice to link also to the root. So the root chakra, the physical world, with the crown chakra, the ethereal, the divine, the bigger than you. From the physical and tangible to the subtle and ethereal. And lift up. Start to walk your hands towards the front of the mat, and we'll take a vinyasa from here. Inhale, step back to plank pose and really lengthen the crown of your head away from your heels. Exhale, chaturanga, lower all the way down. Inhale, cobra. Again, reach the crown of your head up. Exhale to release, downward facing dog. Tuck the toes under, lift your hips up and back. Let's reach our left leg up to the sky. Bend your left knee, open up your hip. And we'll find our warrior two. Step the left foot forward, back foot in, lift on up. Palms facing down, shoulders over your hips. So warrior two is a very grounding pose, but can you lengthen out through your spine, so connecting heaven and earth, or earth and sky. Hands at your heart, look forward. We're gonna step up, coming into that tree pose, taking some arm circles. So you'll place your right foot somewhere along the inside of your left leg. Feel your left thigh push against the foot, and you can squeeze that right knee open a little more. Draw your navel in towards your low back, so the core is engaged here in this pose. And when you're ready, on the inhale, circle your arms out and all the way up. Exhale, pull it down, tracing the spine, tracing the front body. Two more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhaling just as long as the exhale. And draw it all the way back down. And we'll step to our star pose. So right foot goes all the way to the back of the mat. Heels in, toes out. Arms extend. Take an inhale, stretch wide in all 5 directions. And then exhale, bend your knees, bend the elbows. 2 more like this. Inhale, stretch out long. Exhale, sink and ground down. So that tension of opposites, sky and earth. Inhale, stretch. And exhale, bring it down. Stay here as you are. Interlace your fingers, release the thumbs and the index, and we'll take 10 of those forceful breaths, pumping the stomach back. Whenever you're ready, you can go. And release. Hands to your hips. Turn your toes in, fold forward. So wide-legged forward fold, any arm variation that you'd like here. Try to drop and relax even more through your upper body. And walk your hands forward all the way to the top of the mat to bend into that front knee. Let's take a vinyasa. Inhale, plank, stretch long. Exhale, chaturanga, either halfway or all the way. You can take cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog, hips go up and back. And from this down dog, reach your right leg up to the sky, keep it straight and squared, and step the right foot through in between your palms. Stay nice and low. You can walk your hands a couple inches past that right foot, and we're gonna come into our standing splits. So you're trying to lift that left leg up as high as it can go, squeezing it in. Take one big breath, open up the legs nice and wide, and you can bend a little bit into that front knee. Just let your left foot come back down to the floor at about a 45-degree angle for your pyramid pose. Fold on in. Not here for too long. Lengthen the crown of your head down to the floor, so really sticking with our inversions here. But now push your feet into the mat, hands at your heart, come all the way up. And let's transition to our warrior 3 pose. So balancing on your right leg, you can lean forward and extend your left leg up and back. And you can take any arm variation that you'd like here, whatever helps you balance. So this is not an inversion. At most, we want our chest and our head to be parallel to the floor in line with our hips. Whoops. But what we do want to focus on is stretching the crown chakra, the crown of our head, as far away from the back toes as we can. Take one more full breath and come up to mountain pose. Close your eyes, shine the palms forward. As you root down through your feet, lengthen up. Let's take a little flow. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, you can plant your palms and step it back. Inhale to plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Second side, left leg rises straight and squared. And step it through for that runner's lunge. You can bring your fingertips out in front of you, standing split. So pushing off of that back leg to lift it up. Focusing more on the inversion than on the hamstring stretch. So just try to melt the heart down, melt the head down. Using your arms for stability. Squeeze to lift the back leg up a little more and find your pyramid pose. So staying low, just let your right foot come down to the floor as you straighten the left leg and fold. Let's push into the feet, start to lift up, hands at your heart, all the way up to stand. We'll transition to warrior three. So leaning on your left leg, balancing on as you extend the right leg up and back. So any arm variation that you'd like here. Draw your navel in towards your lower back so the core and the abdominals are really strong here. Otherwise, it'll be hard to balance and it will leave your lower back a little bit vulnerable. Stretch out a little longer. Come up, mountain pose, close your eyes. Take your vinyasa, inhale, arms rise. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift. And step it back. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. From your down dog, set your knees back down to the floor. So really one of the best poses that we can do for crown chakra is headstand. If headstand is not yet part of your practice, no worries whatsoever. You're welcome to come back into that rabbit pose. So just resting the crown of your head down, maybe holding on to the heels or interlacing the hands or just releasing your arms by your sides, taking a few breaths here and maybe coming out in child's pose whenever you're ready. If you'd like to come into your headstand, you can either do supported headstand by clasping the hands, forearms down to the mat. Elbows framing the sides of your head, or you can take your tripod headstand if that's what you prefer. Walking in and maybe bringing the knees over the tops of the forearms and lifting up. So any kind of headstand that works. I'm just going to do supported. It's the one that feels the best for me at this time. And with inversions, it's really whenever you need to come out of it that you come out. And this is, of course, a master of inversions. And a bit of a paradox, connecting the crown chakra, connected to the ethereal. And we're connecting that right into the earth. 5 more breaths. And come out of it slowly. Let's all take a child's pose wherever you are. Any kind of child's pose that feels good to you. Please grab a hold of your strap and lower down onto your back. We'll take a reclining leg stretch sequence. So there aren't many yin yoga poses that specifically target the crown chakra, but I wanted to do yin yoga poses that allowed you to rest fully, lying down on your back, almost replicating Shavasana, just so we can not use too much effort. So you can loop the strap around the ball of your right foot and extend that leg all the way up to the sky. And you can either hold up nice and high if that's comfortable. I usually prefer to keep my forearms or my upper arms on the ground. And really relax whatever doesn't need to work here. Slow, steady breaths. Feel that breath go all the way up, as if you could breathe into that crown chakra, breathing into the skull almost. Let's move to leg stretch 2, so you can transition the strap into your right hand and let your right leg drop over to the side. Let's lift the leg all the way back up to center. Our last variation for this leg, you might need to just move your hips a little bit over to the right in order to guide your right leg across your body over to the left. And you might hold on to the strap in your left hand and you can reach your right arm out to the side. So this is also a deep lying spinal twist. Trying to maintain the length of the crown of your head, reaching away from your tailbone and away from that bottom left leg. You can definitely bend your right knee here if this is too intense. Just find the edge that is appropriate for you. Let's carefully release the side, bend the knee. You can roll onto your back and release the strap before we go over to the other side. It might feel good just to pull your knees into your belly, giving it a big squeeze. And this time you can wrap the strap around the ball of the left foot as you extend your left leg up towards the ceiling. Choose where you'd like to place your arms. And see if you can visualize that crown chakra glowing with the rhythm of your breath. Maybe that deep violet or the bright white light. So what would it look like for you to have a balanced crown chakra? Transfer the strap into your left hand and extend it out, Drop that leg over to the left. And try to keep some weight in your right hip and in your right shoulder, so that you're not completely rolling over onto one side. And you'll need to use some arm strength. Try to relax your legs as much as possible. Engage the muscles in the leg to lift it back up. We're going to take it into the twist variation. So you might need to move your hips a little bit over to the left. And you can transfer the strap in your right hand just to guide that leg down. And maybe extend and reach your left arm out to the side. So there is a twisting action here as you soften into the pose. Remember, you can always bend your left knee. This is too intense. And let's unwind. Release the strap. We won't be needing it. In our last pose, we're just going to take a reclined butterfly pose. Soles of the feet come together to touch. Let your knees fall open. And I'm just going to bring my hands up overhead. And I like to interlace the fingers and just kind of push the palms lightly, resting onto that crown chakra, making that connection here to that space, to that energetic center. And almost imagining you could breathe into those palms. Relaxing any lingering tension from your shoulders, from your hips, from your neck. Let's ease our way to Shavasana, our final resting pose. Extend your legs and your arms out. Close your eyes if they're not closed already. And see if you can feel the full integration of each energetic center along your spine. From the root chakra to the sacral, to solar plexus, to the heart, to the throat, to your third eye, and finally to the crown. And as we bring energy back into our physical bodies, we'll change the order of awareness of the chakras. So focus on the crown, on the third eye, the throat, the heart, solar plexus, sacral, and root. Deepening your breath and inviting gentle movement back into your body so that you can wake on up and stretch nice and long. You can roll to one side. We'll come up and take a seat. Lengthening your spine. Bring your palms together at the front of your heart. Make sure you're not rounding or slouching. Just lift up tall. And we'll close this final chakra practice with the chant of Om one time. Inhale to chant. Big breath in. Bowing forward, Namaste. The light within me honors and recognizes the light within you. Thank you so much for practicing with me, yogis. Have a wonderful day. Namaste.